creatively faithful friends. This is Teresa, and I am so glad that I am back with you today. Before I let you know what I am bringing to you today, I want to share. I know that I put in my community tab, but I want to share a little bit of an update with me, and then I'll get into the video today. I'm sure you've noticed. In fact, I got a lovely card from a subscriber. I'm sure you've noticed that I have kind of not posted anything in a couple of weeks. I had some heart issues. They got really bad at, about the middle of June, and I ended up having a heart cath and ended up having a stent put in. One of my grafts from my open heart surgery had collapsed, and so I am finally feeling back okay. Not 100% yet, but feel good enough. I'm not really going out and doing a whole lot, but I feel good enough to be in my craft room and be making some videos. So anyhow, and I hope to get back on a really good schedule this coming week. So watch for some videos this week. I haven't really planned out exactly what I'm going to do this week, but anyhow, that is what I will be doing. So today, and please let me know, in my last video that was an in-person video, I showed my husband, I said, gosh, this clutter behind me looks horrible. Please let me know if you think that this all behind me is completely distracting. But I need some feedback from all of you, is trying to find a spot to film face-to-face videos without a whole lot of visual clutter in the background. So please let me know if this bothers you. If it doesn't bother you, maybe I'll just not let it bother me and I'll just go forward with it. So, but anyhow, decluttering and organizing this craft room is definitely a July goal. So anyhow, I am here today. I am so excited. I am so far behind because of, all of the issues that I told you already. But I am one of the co-hosts for the Beaches and Books Readathon that Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails is hosting. And there are some other co-hosts. I am a co-host. The Lucy Chronicles is a co-host. For Christian Faith and Fiction is a co-host. And Celestria is a co-host. I will have all of their channels linked in the description box down below. And also, let's get into it. So here, right up here, is the prompt. I completely forgot to print it out, so I'll have a graphic right up here. I'll have a graphic, and you can take a look at it and see, what the prompts are. I created the graphic, and I will have them also linked down below so that you can grab them if you would like to participate. So, if you remember from the couple of other readathons I've been in, I don't really do, because I am brand new at this. This is my first year ever having a reading journal. I just got back into reading all the time and making time for it. And if I can read 100 pages today and 100 pages tomorrow, June, the month that, was crazy for me health-wise, June will be my top reading month so far for this year. So I'm really hoping to meet that goal. But I am brand new to this, but loved setting up my reading journal. I'll link a video in the cards up above that shows you the setup of my February monthly. That's the format that I plan to set up all of the other months in. I'll have a flip through here pretty soon. I have finished setting all of them up to June. So I've set up March, April, and May. And so anyhow, one of the things that got me turned on with all of this was a readathon that happened in February. And so I've been keeping up with readathons, and I asked Katie, because I didn't feel confident to host the readathon myself, so I asked Katie if she would consider hosting it, and then she asked me to. I was just thinking I would participate, but she asked me to co-host, and some other people co-hosted. And designing graphics is one of the things I do a lot for my other channel. So, and the lady that I work for, that I design paper and ephemera for. And so anyhow, that's where I am. I design the graphics. I ramble. Sorry. I am so sorry. But so I designed the graphics, and because I'm so new at this and just getting back into reading, I don't really feel like I can give you recommendations because I've read the book before. I'm giving you choices, and I have read a whole bunch of, or I have checked out a whole bunch of choices. Also, if you're new, I don't have home books. I don't have a whole lot of books. I have lots of books. Well, I don't have a whole lot of bookshelf space, but the little bookshelf space I do have is filled up with biblical resources, devotional books that we've gathered over the years, and all of that. So I don't collect like a lot of booktubers do. I don't collect novels and fiction books and all of that to have on bookshelves. I use my library. Because I prefer to read a physical book. I have just gotten into using a Kindle. My daughter does not have time right now at all to read. She told me, she said, let you borrow my Kindle for as long as you want it. I told her when she gave it to me, I said, you're gonna have to tell me you want this back. And so I'm just getting into Kindle reading. I've read one book on it. It was really nice to do that. I do have an iPad that I read on sometimes through the Libby app. I don't like reading books on my phone, but I have done that before too. But I prefer to read a physical book. I have not ever listened to an Audible book. That is one of my reading goals this year. So anyhow, so this is the Beaches and Books Readathon. So that was a very, very long introduction. So here's the introduction. Lucy from Lucy Chronicles created this wonderful little video, and I will pause and come back and let you see the video. And so now, I should have done this. I shouldn't have said this earlier. Now I will have the prompts right up here, and I will show you the books that I have checked out from my library that I consider choices for the readathon and choices for the books. They're not recommendations because I've not read any of these books. So the other thing I want to tell you is I like to read very recently, well, not very recently, but a while back, and when I got back into reading, I decided, I need to only read things that are pleasing to God. In fact, I DNF'd a book that I checked out from the library just yesterday because I picked it up and started reading it and got to page 17 and came across something that I did not like. So I DNF'd it. I've never DNF'd a book before. I trudged through them. But anyhow, so with that being said, at any time, if I pick up and start reading any of these books and there's something in them that does not feel right in my spirit, I will immediately not continue to read them. So with that knowledge, I'm giving you these choices. I don't really know if any of these books are that way. I tried, by reading the synopsis of every one of them, I tried to ascertain that, but I'm not sure, you never know. Okay, so I have rambled very long enough. So the very first prompt is a seashell. To go to your library or your e-library and pick out a book, like you're picking up seashells off of the ocean floor. Well, this is my book that I have two. Oh no, I only have one. This is my book that I am. Here, I'm trying to figure out what side I want to hold it on because the prompts are over here. Okay, so this is the book that I picked out for the seashells, and it's Summer Longing by Jamie Brenner, and it says, Ruth Cooperman arrives in beautiful beach-town Provincetown for her retirement, renting the perfect waterfront cottage while she searches for her forever home. She finds a baby girl abandoned on her doorstep. And that is what drew me to this book. So anyhow, so that book, and it is for prompt number 1. Now, let me back up. For the prompts, you can get a bingo going across, or you can get a bingo going down, or you can do a blackout. You can't get a bingo going diagonal because there are 12 prompts. So, and you can double up on the prompts. So if Summer Longing fits prompt number 1, it also fits another prompt that, I'll get to later. But if your book fits multiple prompts, you can do that. Okay, so the next one is a book saved for later, and I just picked one of these from the library because I scoured the library. I usually, because I would be totally overwhelmed if I went to my library and, just walked around and checked out books. But I go to the library on the website and just scour that way, and then I pick out books, and so I did this in early June, and so I think picking out a book in early June and not reading it until July, that qualifies as save for later. And so this one is Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. And it says, I'm not reading the whole synopsis, I'm just reading a little bit of it. Growing up the daughter of a notorious treasure hunter and absentee father, Duke Wilder left Lily without much patience for the profession or much money in the bank. But Lily is nothing if not resourceful, and she now uses Duke's coveted hand-drawn maps to guide tourists on treasure hunts through the gorgeous red rock canyons of Utah. And I don't know how that plays into the beach, but it might, because I tried to pick out, well, this one might not. I don't think it does. I tried to pick out the books that were only beach related. So this may be one of the books that I don't keep because I really want to read beach related books. Now, you do not have to. A lot of the other co-hosts and other videos I have seen, they are reading all kinds of things. I personally wanted to read like beach reads or beach themed books, and so I may not read that one. It sounds interesting, and I am glad that I found out when I go to my account on the library, it also shows all the books I have checked out. So if I do return it to the library, it won't like be forgotten. I can go back and I can say, oh, I wanted to read that book, and check it out again later. A book that made waves. Now, I am going to take down the prompt for right here. A book that made waves is the graphic. A book that made waves in your community. And I'm going to take down the prompt right here because I want to put the cover of this book up. If you're not familiar with this series, a lot of my people that I follow have recommended this series, but the copy that I have has a big sticker on the front of it, so that's why I want to put a screenshot of the cover. And a book that made waves in the community. This book will fit another prompt. Is Gabrielle Meyer. And this one is called When the Day Comes. This is book 1 in the series. And it's a book about, well, let me read it. Libby has been given a powerful gift to live one life in 1774 colonial Williamsburg and the other in 1914 Gilded Age New York City. When she falls asleep in one life, she wakes up in the other. While she's the same person at her core in both time, she leads 2 vastly different lives. In colonial Williamsburg, Libby is a public printer, and in 1914 in New York, Libby's life is filled with wealth, drawing room conversations, and bachelors. So, but she knows she's not destined to live 2 lives forever. On her 21st birthday, she must choose one path and forfeit the other. So, that is definitely not a beach read, but I definitely will be reading this because of the high recommendations from lots of different people. And that could also fit this next prompt. A starfish and a book that you think will be 5 stars. And so that book for me, Ellen Hildebrand, and I checked out several of her books, and this one is called The 5-Star Weekend. I thought, well, you know, if it's a 5-star weekend, it needs to be a 5-star book too. So we'll see. And this could also fit yellow on the cover. that comes a little bit later because the girl is wearing a yellow bathing suit. A book about friends. And I have this one, and it is Ocean Beach, a novel by Wendy Wax. And this one says, unlikely friends, Madeline, Avery, and Nicole have hit some speed bumps in their lives. But when they arrive in Miami's South Beach neighborhood, they are all hoping for a do-over. They've been hired to bring a once grand historic house back to its former glory on a new television show called Do-Over. So we will see about that one. And then this book is also not a beach read, but this book looks very intriguing. Not a beach book. Any book could be a beach read, but I'm talking about has the subject of a beach in it. And this book is called The Book of Lost Friends by Lisa Wingate. And I love this time period. And I guess that's why I was drawn to it when I was looking for books about friends. Hold on. Louisiana, 1875. In the tumultuous era of Reconstruction, 3 young women set off as unwilling companions on a perilous quest. Hanny is a freed slave. Lavinia is the pampered heir to a now destitute plantation. And Juno, Jane, Lavinia's Creole half-sister. Each carries private wounds and powerful secrets as they head for Texas. I think that would be a great book, providing it doesn't have any terribleness in it. I have a huge selection for an underwater setting because that is my favorite. Okay, so I have The House at Mermaid's Cove. And this one says, as World War II rages, love, mystery, and secrets collide on the English coast in a riveting novel by the best-selling author of The Snow Gypsy. And this is by Lindsay Jane Ashford. In April 1943, a young woman washes ashore on a deserted beach in Cornwall, England. With shorn hair and a number stitched on her tattered chemise, Alice is the survivor of a ship torpedoed by a German U-boat. So, I think that would be very interesting. The next one, and I heard someone talk about this, but we'll see if this is also clean. I love mermaids. In fact, my whole craft room was at one time decorated in a mermaid theme. But those kinds of books are not often clean. So, this is The Siren by Kiera Cass. And, years ago, Colleen was rescued from drowning by the ocean. To repay her debt, she has served as a siren ever since, using her voice to lure countless strangers to their deaths. Though a single word from Kylene can kill, she can't resist spending her days on land watching ordinary people and longing for the day when she will be able to speak and laugh and live freely among them again. Okay, so we'll see about that book. Then here's another one. And I had checked this out of the library once before, and I did not get to it. And this is called Part of Your World, A Twisted Tale by Liz Braswell. And it is, what if Ariel had defeated Ursula, had never defeated Ursula? So, it's a Little Mermaid retelling from Ursula's point of view. So we'll see how that one is. Then this is also a Little Mermaid retelling. I definitely wanted to read a Little Mermaid book for that prompt. This is it's a Disney, The Little Mermaid Against the Tide. And it says, after the death of Ariel's mother, the 7 daughters of King Triton have grown estranged at best. But this year's coral moon is fast approaching, and it's a special one for Ariel. Finally 15, she will be dubbed the protector of her very own ocean territory, as is tradition, and her sisters have agreed to visit for the celebration. So that sounded interesting and intriguing to me. And the next one here is called The Deep, and it is by Rivers Solomon. Her people, though, was Jinru, a water-dwelling descendants of pregnant African slave women thrown overboard by slavers, live idyllic lives in the deep. Their past, too traumatic to be remembered, regularly is forgotten by everyone save one, the historian. Okay, so I don't know if that one will be, that one sounds ominous. Okay, and then this one is Deep Blue, and it is written by Jennifer Donnelly. And it says, Seraphina, daughter of Isabella, queen of Miramora, has been raised with the expectation and burden that she will someday become the ruler of the oldest civilization of the merfolk. So that is that one. And then I have one last one, and I will put it right up here because it is an ebook, and it is called Sea Witch, and I don't know anything about it because I forgot. I was going to go on and write down the synopsis of the books that I had in the ebooks. I have a few, and I forgot before I started the video. So it is called Sea Witch, and I don't know who the author is either, but I'll have it. I'll have it right there. Okay, the next prompt is, and I had a lot for this prompt, is a book with sun or yellow on the cover. So I went with a book that might have had a sunset or a sunrise and or yellow. Okay, so this one is called Sunset Bridge by Emily Richards, and it says, former socialite Tracy Deloche has nothing to her name but 5 ramshackle beach cottages and the unlikely friendships she's formed with her tenants. So that sounded interesting. Then I have Sunset Beach by Mary Kay Andrews. Drew Campbell's life is adrift. She's out of a job and down on her luck, and life doesn't seem to be getting any better. When her estranged father, Bryce Campbell, a flamboyant personal injury attorney, shows up at her mother's funeral after a 12-year absence. Sounds very interesting. Sunrise at Sea, and that is by Jenny Colgan. Marissa Rosso can't understand why everyone else is getting on with their lives as she struggles to get over the death of her beloved grandfather back home in Italy. Everyone loses grandparents, why? Right? Why is she taking it so badly? So you'll have to look it up and read the rest of the synopsis. Okay, and the next book is called Return to the Beach House by Georgia Bakoven, and Allison arrives at the beach house in June to spend a month with her restless grandson before he leaves for his first year of college. More than a decade earlier, Allison lost her beloved husband and has faced life alone ever since. Now she discovers a new life and a possible new love. And then this one, I don't think, well, it might be. I'm not sure if this one has a beach setting. It's called Lady Sunshine. When I found this one when I was looking for books with yellow on the cover or a sun. For Jackie Pierce, everything changed the summer of 1979 when she spent 3 months of infinite freedom at her bohemian uncle's sprawling estate on the California coast. There we go. It's on the coast. As musicians, artists, and free spirits gathered at the sandcastle for the season in pursuit of inspiration and living, Jackie and her cousin Willa fell into a fast friendship, testing their limits along the rocky beach and in the wild woods until the summer abruptly ended in tragedy and Willa silently slipped away into the night. This might be a book I might not can read. I left out a word in there, so it might be not okay. So, and then I have one more, and that book I'll have right up here. It's an ebook, and it is called Sunshine Avenue. Again, don't know the author, don't know anything about it. So, the next prompt is a sandcastle on the prompt, and a book with royalty in it, or a castle on the cover, or a castle in it. Okay, so I have Sandcastle Bay by Cheryl Woods. In a trade-off she's lived to regret, Emily Castle left home years ago to become an interior designer. The youngest of 3 sisters, Emily desperately wanted to prove herself. Success, though, came at the cost of leaving behind the man she loved. So that is about sandcastles. I definitely will be reading this one, with the premise that if I find something in it that is not pleasing to me, I will DNF it. But the reason I chose this one is I live in Florida. We have hurricanes. I've been through several hurricanes, and so this title intrigued me. It's called The Sandcastle Hurricane by Carolyn Brown. Cousins Tabby and Ellie Mae are due for a change. Running their aunt's beachfront bed and breakfast in Sandcastle, Texas is just the thing to shake things up. Though their lives spin out of control in more ways than one when a hurricane barrels into the coastline. It's a miracle it didn't carry them off to Kansas. Not so lucky are the Assisted Living Center and a small eclectic group of local folks who take shelter with the cousins. That sounds really interesting. And this one sounds very interesting. And this is the other one with a castle. And I have been really wanting to read this author, Julie Klassen, The Tutor's Daughter. Emma Smallwood, determined to help her widowed father when his boarding school fails, accompanies him to the cliff-top manor of a baronet and his 4 sons. But soon after they arrive and begin teaching the 2 younger boys, mysterious things begin to happen. Who does Emma hear playing the piano forte at night, only to find the music room empty? And who begins sneaking into her bedchamber, leaving behind strange mementos? Ooh. Okay, the next prompt, I have one book and then I have an ebook, and I do know what that ebook is about. The next books do not have anything to do with the beach, but you had to read a book about sports. And, because often you see people playing volleyball on the beach and, kinds of sports. So, and, just playing and frolicking on the beach. So, I found 2 books about softball, and softball is my life. I have a granddaughter that plays softball all through high school. She just graduated from high school, and she will be playing softball in college. She has played travel ball, and so that's what I looked for when I searched for a book about sports. So this one is called The Flood Girls, and again, not so sure about this one. Welcome to Raucous, I don't know if that's how you say that word, minuscule Quinn, Montana, population 956. A town where nearly all the volunteer firemen are named Jim, where the Dirty Shame, the filthier of 2 bars in town, refuses to serve mixed drinks, too much work, where the locals hate the newcomers, then again they hate the locals too, and where the town's horrendous softball team has never even come close to having a winning season until now. So that one sounds like a very interesting one, and I will definitely read that one until, hopefully I can read the whole thing. The other book is right here. It's called Heroine. It's about a girl that was in a car crash, and she played softball. She was in a car crash. She was injured, and so therefore she couldn't play softball anymore. And I think she might get hooked on drugs, painkillers. It said something like that in the synopsis. So that one I'm not sure about. This one I'm not sure about. Hopefully one of them will fit the bill. Okay. A book with 2 point of views. And so that book I will be using the When the Day Comes by Gabrielle Meyer. Or if I find any of these others that I read, I'm hoping to do a blackout. And if I find any of these others that have 2 point of views, I will insert those into that prompt. Okay. The next one is read a book during a rainstorm. And of course you can pick any book. But I picked these 2 books because I had so many books I needed to pick up from. I had so many books to pick from. I picked 2 books and plugged them into that prompt. So, just pick up a book and read during a rainstorm. In Florida, in the summer, that's not an issue at all. But if it is an issue where you are, just put on some rain music and read. Okay, this one is called The Lifeboat by Charlotte Rogan. And in the summer of 1914, Grace elopes with Henry Winter in London, hoping to escape the disapproval of his wealthy family. When the elegant ocean liner carrying them home to America suffers a mysterious explosion, Henry sacrifices his safety and secures Grace a seat in a lifeboat, which the occupants quickly realize is over capacity. For any to live, some must die. So kind of a Titanic vibe there. Okay, and the next one is called The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. And when I was looking and I found this book is also a movie because I saw a DVD of it. Now, I don't have a DVD player, or I'd be checking out the DVD and watching the movie afterwards. So I'm hoping I can find find the movie on our TV. We do streaming TV, so I might be able to find it. So anyhow, after 4 harrowing years on the Western Front, Tom Sherburne returns to Australia and takes a job as the lighthouse keeper on Janus Rock, nearly half a day's journey from the coast, to this isolated island where the supply boat comes once a season and shore leaves are granted every other year at best. Oh. Years later, after 2 miscarriages and 1 stillbirth, the grieving Isabel hears a baby's cry on the wind. A boat has washed up on shore carrying a dead man and a living baby. So the lighthouse keeper and his wife and end up with a baby. So that sounded interesting to me. So the last prompt is a book set in a beach town. So Boardwalk was the graphic and a book set in a beach town. Well, I have lots of choices for this. The Summer House by, who is the author? I don't know why my library puts that sticker over the author's name. Jenny Hale is the author of this book. Callie Weaver and her best friend Olivia Dixon have finally done it. Put their life savings into the beach house they admired through childhood summers on the dazzling white sand of North Carolina's Outer Banks. And I'm from North Carolina, so that's why this interested me. I've never been to the Outer Banks, though. They're going to buff the salt from its window, paint its sun-bleached sidings, and open it as a bed and breakfast. How? I want to read all of these books, but how do you do that? I could do nothing but read all summer and all month, and I still wouldn't finish all of these books. Okay, here's another Ellen Hildebrand book for that prompt. It's called The Hotel Nantucket. And this one says, fresh off a bad breakup with longtime boyfriend, Nantucket sweetheart Lisbeth Keaton is desperately seeking a second act. When she's named the general manager of the newly renovated Hotel Nantucket, a Gilded Age gem rescued from neglect, she hopes that her local expertise and charismatic staff can win the favor of their London billionaire owner, Xavier Darling, as well as that of Shelley Carpenter. That's a very long sentence. As well as that of Shelley Carpenter, the wildly popular Instagram tastemaker who can put them back on the map. Whew. Okay, so that one is a choice for the beach town. This one is Summer at the Cape by Readathon. As the older sibling to identical twins, Violet and Lily, Cammie Porter was always the odd sister out. The divide grew even wider when their parents split up. While the twins stayed in Cape Sanctuary with their free-spirited mother, Rosemary, 14-year-old Cammie moved to LA with her attorney father. Nearly 20 years later, when Cammie gets the terrible news that Lily has drowned, saving a child's life, her mother begs her to return home to help untangle the complicated estate issues her sister left behind. So that might be my choice. That one sounds really good. I'll probably have a backup, because I'm probably going to return some of these to the library right away, and I'll have a backup to each prompt just in case I get into the book and I don't know. I could always just go check it out again. The library's less than 5 miles down the road. Debbie McComber. Oh, over here. A Walk Along the Beach. The Lakey sisters are perfect opposites. After their mother died and their father was lost in grief, Willa had no choice but to raise her sister Harper and their brother Lucas. Then, as an adult, Willa put her own life on hold to nurse Harper through a terrifying illness. So that one sounded very intriguing. And another Ellen Hildebrand, Winter in Paradise. Irene Steele has an idyllic life, a beautiful Iowa City Victorian house, lovingly restored to perfection, a husband who adores her to skywriting, a husband who adores her to skywriting. I know, that didn't make sense. Sentimental extremes. 2 grown sons out leading interesting lives and a satisfying magazine job. But as she greets the new year on a cold and snowy night, everything comes crashing down around her with the insistent ringing of her phone and the shocking news that her beloved husband, away on business, has been killed in a plane crash. So, I got 2 more. This one is called Haven Point by Virginia Hume. And if it only had 2, it could fit that POV. But it has 3. It is a book set in 1944, 1970, and 2008. It is about a girl, then a couple, and then their daughter. So that one sounded really, really interesting. And then another Debbie Macomber book. I will be reading a lot of her books at Christmas time. She has a whole bunch of nice Christmas books that I've never read. Back years ago when I read a lot, when I was teaching school and I wasn't as involved in crafting, during the summertime, that was my pleasure. I would go spend the summer at the local town swimming pool. I would go spend the summer, take a book, lay out by the pool, and read. And I read a lot of Debbie Macomber books, and she has a bunch of holiday books that I will be looking up this holiday season. A seaside town and its eclectic community help one young woman reclaim the light after darkness in a brand new novel from Debbie Macomber. Annie Marlowe has been through the worst. Rocked by tragedy, she heads to the one place that makes her happy, Oceanside in the Pacific Northwest, the destination of many family vacations when Annie was a teenager. And I know the Debbie Macomber books are safe to read because I've read them all before. Well, I mean, I haven't read them all before, but I have read her books before. So, that is all I have. And I am really, really excited, really looking forward to this. I've got to get that last June book read between today and tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to spend the evening doing, is reading that next book, or reading that next 100 pages, I meant. And so make sure you check out all of the other co-hosts, and I'll have the graphics linked in the description box down below. And I know that there are going to be reading sprints. I won't be on camera for reading sprints. I'm kind of afraid of the technology to do all that kind of stuff. I've tried it. I've tried things like that before, and I just don't have the setup for it. And then I guess that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and make sure to stay tuned this week for some new videos from me, and I'll catch you later. Bye.